So again, 2100, 2110, the difference is only in the auger. One is rubber and the other one is steel. The third model we want to look at is the SNT 2400. This is a 24-inch two-stage product. It was just released about a year ago, so this is our second year. The first year we actually replaced a lot of the units that came back for service, but this year we'll probably repair instead of replace. We should have all the parts available for this model. Many of the parts are actually assemblies, so we try to replace more as assemblies than individual parts because we want to save time and cost on repair, and it just makes more sense for us to do it that way, and it's a much faster repair, much more reliable. So if you have one component, like for example, if we have a gear issue, transmission issue, we're not going to replace gears, we're not going to be pressing bearings and pressing gears on, so everything will be pre-assembled from the factory, and all you have to do is replace in this case. So let's look at some terms we want to talk about today. You probably hear us mention these terms. A PCBA is a printed circuit board assembly. It's a circuit board. The next term would be a BMS, and that is your battery management system. This is the system that is a power that controls the power distribution of the machine, sends power to everything in the machine. The third one is called the MOSFET. The MOSFET, when we say it's really a PCBA component, and it's like acts like a variable resistor or a switch basically at the end. It acts like a switch. It turns phases on and off so the motor can spin. So that's part of the PCBA. Let me go down here. Okay, so let's start with looking at the issue with some of the leaders don't even know where to go for assistance on repair. Just to let you know that Eagle has a whole library of material, and it's all internal, and it's all not open to the public. It's only exclusive for distributors and dealers. There are no secrets here, but the end user cannot get access to these. You will have access to these resources by will send you a link to your distributor, and then they will forward the link to you. All you have to do is click on that link and then put in the password, and then you have the access to the resource center. So for the Eagle Resource Center here, I'm gonna show you where you would go. So the first one will take you to this website here. It's a SharePoint. And all you have to do is click on Eagle. Then from there, you'll have to find the category. So this resource link is really for everything that Eagle makes, and it's got all the information about all of our tools. So for today's discussion, we go to snowblower here. Then you pick the model that you are working with, and you hit, for example, the two-stage. There's troubleshooting guides and there's repair guides here. So if you go to repair guidelines, you have repair guidelines, and these are manuals, like different manuals, and this is 121 pages. But you go in here and you look at the subject you're working with, and then you just let's say how to replace the impeller. Let's take this one. So all you have to do is go in here and type 71. Then you go right to the page you need to show you how to replace the impeller. Okay. And then the other link I'm going to send you through your distributor is a end user link, which is the drawings and the parts list. Again, here, let's go to a snowblower and then pick the model number you're working with. And then you go right to the page here, and you would have your drawing on the top here, position numbers, pretty standard in the industry, what we're doing here. Then you go down here and you find it with the position number. And then you would order the part through your distributor. And then the MSRP is, in this case, the US MSRP in US dollars. So your prices will be different. And this will be the cost to your end user. If the product is out of warranty, you would lock in the MSRP working with your distributor, and so obviously you'll get some kind of a discount from us through the distributor. Then you can mark up your part out of warranty to the end user and make a little bit of money on parts and labor. Okay. You have questions, just type them in the Teams meeting, then we can answer them together. Or if you have something more urgent that comes to your mind, go ahead. There's a few people on this call, so maybe just send me a text there. Okay. So that's the one part. So what's important here is that to know where to find Eagle stuff, Eagle information, and in the resource center, not only you can find drawings, but you can also find repair videos. So, oh, that's the wrong stuff. So let me just have. I did. Okay. I wish I won the lottery. Okay. So here you said we go to outdoor power. Okay. Resource center, Eagle. Actually, it's a lot easier than I thought. I know I've been doing this for a while, but it's as simple as that. You have to find the category, then find the tool, and then in here we have a library of repair videos. So basically, instead of going to the repair guidelines, you just go and watch these videos. They're anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. And I highly recommend if you're working on any of these products, just go and see if you can find the videos for them and play them before you start. Now, a lot of it is common sense, pretty basic. Any mechanic should be able to remove and replace components. But this will just give you another visual aid to how to do these repairs. All right. So for Eagle service, we don't have any special tools. Only special tool that I know of is related to a zero turn, but this is not in this session. The zero turn has a special USB Bluetooth dongle. Again, for any other Eagle products, all you need is a DVOM. And then you would just use voltage, you check DC volts, and you would check in the diode mode, you run some tests through the circuit, and you have to be within a certain range. And if you're outside the range, the PCB is bad. If you're inside the range, the PCB is good. Let's start with this. So with this session here, we're going to have some introductions like this. Then we're going to go into a live demo where Matt Irwin here with me will actually show you how to test and what values to get. We have some PCBAs on the bench here, and we have some tools we can take apart together, and then we do some testing together. So for this first product is our best seller because it's been around the market for a long time. It's There's two different models. One has a rubber auger and the other one has a steel auger. And for service, that's really the only difference in the product. Now for sales, there's some color differentiations as well. There's the housing with the front lights with the steel auger is green, and for the rubber auger is black. But as far as service, they assemble exactly the same way. Let's talk about troubleshooting here before we go to the live demo, and we'll give you some basic information. Some of the main issues that we see in the field where a unit just dies on you, it just has no power. So the first thing you do in this case, if the lights do not come on, the first logical thing to do is to check the fuses. And then if the fuses check okay, then you go to checking the battery management system PCBA. And then if that checks okay, you go to the third one, and then you check the main PCBA. So if one of these should fix the no power, okay? And then, it could be a bad motor, and there is a test for the motor as well. We can show you that shortly. So let's just dig a little bit deeper into the electronics and what makes the anatomy of that machine. So you do have a battery management system PCBA, and then the second one is the main PCBA. So as you see these parts in the picture here, these are the parts you would order. So we do not sell any, or we do not offer any of those individual components for each PCBA separately. So if anything that goes wrong, like you need a new fuse for the BMS, you would just replace the whole unit. Same likewise with the main PCBA. If that checks bad and it needs to be replaced, this is what you would order. Everything that you see in this picture. We look at this BMS here. Obviously, there's two battery connectors here because this is a two battery unit. If one of the connectors go bad, then you replace the whole PCBA. And then you would have the fuses. So in the fuses are actually buried and covered with epoxy from the factory. So in order to get access to the fuses, you have to use like a pointy pin on a DVOM, or you can put a little hole in the epoxy to measure the fuses and check. This is the first fuse here. This is the second fuse here. So now, and the next thing is there's two other plugs, which is two yellow plugs. One is going to the handle where all the switches are on the top of the handle, and the other connector here goes to the main PCBA. So power gets into the BMS first from the batteries. The rest of the power goes into the main PCBA, and from that you go into the self. There's no self-propelled here, sorry. So the main PCBA gets the power from the BMS. So if any of these components, whether it's the BMS or the main PCBA, check bad, we recommend to change them both, because we've had a situation where, let's say the BMS was bad, we only changed the BMS, then it blew the main circuit board with it. So there was something in the BMS that's causing the other one to fail, and vice versa. So, but to get to these components, it's the same work. When you open up the tool and get access to one of them, you have access to the other. So it takes an extra 10 minutes to replace the other circuit. So we recommend that we replace them both at the same time if one of them needed or both needed replacement. Okay. Now, so we will just take a live demo here. We're gonna go to the one of the machines with this SNT 2100, and we're gonna join Matt here in a minute, and we will look at how to take where the PCBAs are located in the machine and what it takes to get access to them. Okay, so let me unshare here, and then we'll let Matt share his here. Okay. Can you still hear me okay? Thumbs up. Okay. All right, you can bring this maybe closer by the speaker. So we're gonna look at this. This is actually the SNT 2100. This has got the rubber auger here. See that? And yeah, just go ahead, Matt, and show us the magic here.
Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen. So one of the things that I will show you here is in the repair guidelines, you're going to notice that it's going to have you remove the chute discharge and this whole entire cover. You can actually access pretty much everything you need through the battery box compartment. So if you pull off the screws for the battery box compartment, you will get two pieces out. First piece, release the terminals, and then pull the inner slot out. And now with that, you will actually have quite a bit more access to the unit here. So with this open, you can see your battery management system here. Actually, can you get in from back here, Bob? There we go, that's a little better. So you can see your battery management system here. So the fuses you're gonna be testing are actually right here and right here. And then if you tilt it this way just a little bit, you can kind of see, you can come right this way.
Okay, sorry.
And you get in right here, this is your main PCBA here. So in order to test your motor, you're gonna wanna test your motor while it's still in here. You're going to want to test it with this lead right here. And you're simply going to look for continuity when those leads. So see if we can't get the DVOM in there. There we go. So all you're going to be doing is touching multiple leads at once. So you'll touch one and another. So I got continuity, got continuity. It's basically like that, just dancing it around from probe to probe right there. All the other tests here, you can do in place, but we're gonna do on a bench for you guys to make it a little easier to see. So this is that PCBA that we were just looking at, the battery management PCBA. So this is going to be your power coming in or going out to your BMS. This is going to be power coming in and out from your control unit, so your handle. This is where your battery is plugging in. So to test those fuses, you're going to just looking for a continuity across them. So just put it into whichever mode has continuity on it. On mine, it is the diode mode. You're just going to want to pierce across the two here. Just pierce that rubber through until you get a good bead. So that one's good. And there's one for each. There's pierce next to it, pierce next to it in here. So we know both of those are good. So as far as the battery management system goes on the SNT 2100, this is going to be the only test that you do. You're really just testing these two little fuses right here, two little white squares you see. When you do test these, if they test good and you're going to be replacing it on the unit and not getting a new one, make sure that you do put some silicone or something over those holes that you just created in the waterproofing. So this is the main PCBA for the unit. You will note that it is in two pieces. They come as one part number. This unit does not have any tests on it. If your LED headlights go out, you will replace your main PCBA because it does come from this. So to test this one, you're going to be testing in diode mode, just like when you test your lawnmowers or any of your other circuits, it tests the same. The only difference here is that you're going to notice this plug is a triangle plug that's used for your power input, but it's the same thing. It's still your power input, right? So you're going to take your negative lead onto your positive here. And sometimes they'll stick in there on these and sometimes they won't. So you might have to just hold it in place. Make sure you're only touching the negative lead. Then you're going to touch each phase on the way out. You should have between 0.45 and 0.550 volt. And then just so you see, there's one more phase. And this phase is out. You can see this is a good solid test, showing right in between the two values. And then this one is bad. Bad doesn't necessarily mean zero. It could be above as well. So if it had a solid volt, then that would be considered bad as well. So then you're going to want to reverse that test as well, and you're going to put the positive to your negative. That was negative to positive. And you should get the exact same result. Same cell is out. And that's all the testing for diagnostic on the the S&T 2100 and 2110.
And if any one of these test bad, you will replace both the BMS and the main PCBA together.
Yes, sir. So yeah, you're going to get these fuses will go bad when you catch a dog chain or old frozen newspaper or any of those kinds of things that you guys are all very aware of. What the end users will suck up with their snow thrower. Anything that they pull in, these fuses are going to be the first culprit, but we recommend replacing both anytime that you do work on one of these machines. Just involved with the labor, just in case one of them was damaged. We don't want you to have to pull up the unit again, wait for parts, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. How many share mine here? All right, so I'm recording this meeting, so you could, I'll just publish it so you can all review it together. And again, your best resource is our links that we'll send you, so you can go there and either read about what Matt just demonstrated. It will show you exactly pictures, step by step, and what values you should expect from the measurements. And then this is how you determine whether the electronics are inside or outside the range. If they're outside, they're bad. You need to replace them. And we replace both, all the electronics. Okay, next. All right, so we want to look at the two-stage snowblower. Again, we mentioned that this was introduced last year, did well for us. And last year we replaced a lot of these because they were a new product and we want the customer to be happy. We always want the customer to be happy. This year, we want to repair all of these instead of replacing. This is at a price point that is well worth it for us to repair. All the parts are available with your distributor. And we do have a ton of information about repair and troubleshooting about this product here. It is a two-stage. You have an auger, then it's linked to an impeller with a gearbox here. So the impeller is running faster, a gear reduction to go to an auger. And then you have a self-propelled feature with reverse. So you have I think 3 speeds or 4 speeds forward and 1 speed in reverse. And you also have speeds, like 4 speeds for the auger itself. So let's go on and look a little bit more about what issues we have with this from last season. And these are not in any order. We've seen some broken gears. That is, the auger is on shear pins to the shaft, but impeller is not. There's a pin that holds the impeller. So if you get a shock, then the gear can break. We have made some quality improvements. We have changed the heat treat, and just hopefully we won't get many of these this season. Obviously, with anything electronically driven, we'd have a PCBA or electronic failure, and we will go through some of the testing procedures on those as well. All of brushless motors have similar test procedures. So what you saw on the bench here with Matt is very similar to every brushless electronic PCBA. And then if you have any self-propelled, the self-propelled will actually have some issues where maybe one of the wheels is not spinning, or it doesn't go in reverse, or there's actually a clutch that connects and disconnects the wheels from the drive unit. And sometimes that clutch does not disconnect, so that wheel is always dragging on the motor. And then you have issues with, if one of them is dragging, the other one is not. It could be an alignment issue. But anyway, and the other issue would be anything related to control switches, which is on the top of the handle here. So all the control switches are on the top, whether it's turning the LED lights on, or driving, or changing the speed, or reversing the self-propelled. So if any of those functions do not or stop working, we would replace the whole handle assembly. This whole handle assembly is one part number. We don't want to spend the time trying to replace one of the switches at a time. It's very labor intensive, so we prefer that we just go ahead and replace the whole handle assembly. So what happened when a broken gear gear is a problem? So you'd replace the whole gearbox assembly. We do have a video for a drivetrain, replacing the drivetrain video, and it goes through step by step of how to get to that gearbox. You pretty much have to take almost everything apart. So it's a very extensive, not difficult, but just time consuming to replace that gearbox. We do not replace gears only. We replace the whole unit of the gearbox unit to be replaced. PCB malfunction. So, it could be any one of 3 things. It could be losing power, or like a blinking orange on the machine, or something, just the whole thing just shuts down, or goes in and out, intermittent. So there would be a PCB malfunction, and you would have to actually remove and disassemble the PCBA box. Okay, the PCBA box is again a repair that you have to take a few parts out, and then once you get to the box, you test the PCBAs like we did on the single stage unit. But it's not as easy to get access to the PCBAs, but it's not that difficult either. It's more time consuming to get to the PCBAs than the single stage. And then once you test the PCBAs, if you find any of them bad, you just replace them. And so what I've done here, I'm going to show you a video how to take those apart. And then we'll go to a live demo on the bench with Matt again. So let me play this video. Oops. Okay. So as you see, this is what you should expect in as far as quality. I don't know if the sound was turned on, but this does have sound. And they're all available in the resource center. There's 7 videos for the S&T 2400, and our plan is to produce another video for the 2100, so you can always go back and review the video before you attempt a repair. Again, so basic steps here. If something is malfunction, you gotta do the testing first, confirm that you have a bad component, and then replace the component or components as needed. So we don't want to just replace because we don't, like shoot in the dark here and just replace whatever we think is bad. There's always a way to check the components before we replace. So now we're gonna go into a live demo of the S&T 2400. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing here, and Matt, if you would just share the camera here. Okay, we got it.
All right, gentlemen, sorry about the audio not working. You guys can watch those videos anytime on our site. I'm sure the distributors will have them up on their sites as well. The key points to that video that you might not have heard, that you would have seen visually, would have been to make sure that you note the wire placement in this case. So it's real important where all these wires go and which traps they actually go in here. And then as well as underneath here, there are some pretty tight spacing there. So you're going to make sure that you are paying attention to that, snapping a picture of it, whatever it is you need to do when you do disassembly, so that you ensure that you reassemble it the correct way, so that you don't cut, crimp, or otherwise damage the PCBAs when you're putting them in. What we have here, we'll start with, these are the 3 components that come out of here. We'll start with the battery management system. We're going to test it similar to how we've tested some of our other gear, as far as you're going to be either in diode mode to test, or you will be in continuity mode to test. On this meter, diode and continuity are the same, so if you hear, I'll get the beep. So on some meters, your continuity test is going to be in your ohms. So this test is going to be repeated 4 times total. So you will put your negative lead onto your positive. Sorry, onto your negative. And then you will check your negative output, and all you're looking for, I'm sorry, this should be on ohms. All you're looking for is OL. So if you get anything other than OL, then this circuit's bad. You want to check both sides. And then you want to reverse it.
So this is a bad.
So the only other test on here is just for continuity. And that's just, you're going to just look for red to red. And the fuses in this one are blown, otherwise it would beep. So when you want to check in, you want to check it on both sides, because these are 2 circuits in each individual circuit for each battery. All of these procedures are in the repair guideline. So that's the only thing you're checking on here, is you're checking for the continuity, and then you're checking to make sure the fuses inside aren't blown. This is your main PCBA. So this PCBA is going to test very similar to your LM2100s or your other mowers that we have. You are going to do your negative lead into your positive with your voltmeter onto diode mode. And then what you're checking is your phases here. So you're going to check each individual phase. It should be that 0.450 to 0.550 voltage on each individual phase. And then you do this test in reverse. So you just simply put your positive on there, and then you're going to check with your negative. Oh, my bad. Sorry, put it on the wrong one. Put positive on your negative lead. So you simply, one test, you're going to have your positive lead to your negative and check. Then the other, you simply reverse it, put your negative on your positive and check with your positive lead. You just want to check the circuit in both directions. That's the only test on your main PCBA. If you're outside of the 0.450 to 0.550 range, then this circuit is bad and needs to be replaced. This is the self-propel circuit. It tests in the same manner as the other one. The connector is just quite a bit smaller, so you will have to finesse it in there a little bit. So you start with your negative lead to your positive input. Then you will check all three of your phases out. Should be that same voltage, 0.450 to 0.550 on each one. Then you simply reverse the test. Your negative, positive on your negative. And then check each one of your phases as well. And if any of these individual tests fail, it will be a bad board. It is rare, but you can have one side fail and then flip it over and the other side fail. Generally, they will fail on the same side. So if the blue phase is out, it's generally out on both sides, but don't just test one side. You need to make sure you test both to ensure that you are testing the entire circuit.
And Matt, you have to take them out of the box to test?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So with this box here, you cannot release the input signals from the box without opening the box up. So you do have to remove them from the box to test them. The only thing you can test once you remove this, if you noticed in the video, it showed once you had the PCBA box removed, if you were testing continuity for the motors, you can test, those wires will be still on the machine. So that would be a situation where you would indeed be doing some of the tests on the machine. And that would just be the same thing that we were looking at earlier when we showed the continuity testing on the tri-plug, where you bounce from plug to plug to plug, looking for continuity between all three of them. That's the same test that you would do on the two brushless motors in the SNT 2400. So there's a PCBA or drive motor and a auger motor, so you would test both of them the same way. One of them is a small triangular plug, and the other is 3 individual wires. So,
okay. All right, so so let's look at the other issues here. If you have no power, we said check the headlights first, check the BMS like we just did, check the main PCBA, then anything related to self-propelled, replace the self-propelled unit motor. That means the whole assembly with the transmission is replaceable. We don't try to fix any of the gearing or replace gears. If one of the wheels does not move or wheels do not disengage from the transmission when the power is off, or any self-propelled mechanical issue, the recommended fix for this machine is to replace the whole transmission in the back, and there is a video for that. So all of these issues we have put together, repair guidelines and videos for you to follow or train other people to do it. If there's any issue with any of the controls on top of the handle, whether it's a variable speed switch, whether it is a self-propelled speed switch or an on-off switch, the way we have set it up is that any of these malfunction, you would just replace the whole handle assembly just to save time and eventually money for us. Even out of warranty, it just takes, I don't know, how long do you think? Maybe 20 minutes to replace a handle. It can take you a couple of hours to replace a switch. So it makes sense for us to just replace the whole handle.
It's definitely very tedious inside of the handle as far as the spring mechanisms that hold in the detents for the sets, for the speeds, for the speed control, for the auger, and those kinds of things. So it was just a real bear. The only thing that does come out of it is the chute discharge handle. You can take the green plastic covers off of that, and there's a couple of bolts on the inside, and that slides out, and that is part of the chute discharge assembly. Other than that, everything electronic in the handle or anything electronic with the handle will just be a whole handle replacement. If it is something with the chute, you will be removing the chute assembly and the chute discharge handle there, but that's it.
Okay. So, so for any of these so far we talked about, there's really two basic models, two models that we offer. The first one is similar. Two of them are almost the same, except for very few differences. The second one is the two-stage, but the testing procedure is almost identical. I know we flew by these very quickly, but just take your time. Next time you have one of these, look at the repair guidelines, look at the videos, and hopefully things will be straightforward and clear what to replace or repair. And your main contact for anything about service should be your distributors first. And we are in contact with the distributors. Of course, if they need anything from us or is something they cannot answer for you, they can always reach out to us, and we will help you out with the answers. So this is all I have for today. I hope that was informative and makes you feel a little bit more comfortable working with Eagle products. But again, just take your time, go for your resources, and let us know if you have any issues outside of what you can't figure out. So thank you everyone for your time, and I'll give you a 10 minutes back for your day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.